Money problems can make a person do desperate things, and Sarah Ferguson, Duchess of York, is no exception. In 2010, she took a meeting with a mysterious investor, totally unaware she was walking into a trap, and his true identity was the biggest bombshell of all. What came after was one of the worst scandals to ever hit the royal family. We'll get more into that story later on. You might say that Sarah Ferguson's friendship with Princess Diana was her doorway to the royal family. As a matter of fact, they were actually fourth cousins, so they were very close. And, like any good friend, Princess Diana decided to do Fergie a solid. In 1985, she offered Fergie a most prestigious invitation. At the will of Princess Diana, Fergie received an invitation to attend an event at Windsor Castle. While there, she was strategically placed next to Prince Andrew, Princess Diana's brother-in-law and the son of the Queen. Love was once again in the air for Sarah Ferguson, and things were only getting brighter and brighter from there. She received several more invitations from Princess Diana that allowed her to get to know Prince Andrew on a deeper, more intimate level. The young couple often stayed at High Grove, a country house with Diana and her husband, Prince Charles. As a group, the two couples vacationed together, which gave paparazzi plenty of time to snap pics of them. Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson were officially an item. Of course, that brought a whole new host of troubles. In July of 1986, Fergie received the Queen's approval to marry Prince Andrew. The couple married and became royally dubbed the Duke and Duchess of York. Fergie was officially a royal, but it wasn't all fun and games. She now had a series of commitments to uphold in order to stay in good social graces. But the newest royal was far from prim and proper. Fergie definitely stood out from the other women in the royal family. Although she accompanied the Duke of York on several official engagements, she made sure to keep her own interests in mind. In 1987, she completed the necessary training to obtain a private pilot's license. Just because she was a duchess didn't mean Fergie's adventurous streak had ended. But with adventure also comes danger. While attending a fundraising event in New York in 1988, a political protester attacked her outside of her hotel. A young man lunged at her with a flagpole displaying the Irish Republican Army flag. Thankfully, the Duchess remained unscathed, and authorities quickly apprehended her attacker. Fergie remained safe, and that was a blessing because her life was about to change in a monumental way. Fergie and the Duke of York welcomed a baby girl named Beatrice into their family on August 8, 1988. Her pregnancy was far from idyllic, though. Rather, Fergie suffered from high blood pressure and an abnormal amount of water retention during pregnancy. After successfully delivering Beatrix, she was able to let out a sigh of relief. But that bliss wouldn't last long. In fact, Fergie's life was about to get a whole lot worse. And as a new member of the royal family, she had no idea how to protect herself. Just 1 month after delivering her daughter, Fergie opted to join her husband on a trip to Australia, leaving her newborn at home. She had no idea at this point that the press and the public were going to be merciless. They absolutely hated this decision. One headline from the Daily Express declared her as a national disgrace and accused her of being a self-centered woman who has abandoned her daughter like an unwanted doll. Another publication dubbed her the dreaded Duchess. Personal attacks like these were devastating. People had basically turned on her in what felt like an instant. She was painted out to be some kind of monster just because she decided to go on this trip so soon after having her daughter. But personal attacks like these, while devastating, were something that she would just have to learn to get used to because they weren't going anywhere anytime soon. Between childbirth and disordered eating, Fergie's weight fluctuated wildly. The vultures were absolutely ruthless. The media ridiculed her with names like the Duchess of Pork and Fat Fergie. To fight back, she declared that after having Beatrix, she was going to lose weight and get her physical health in order. But soon enough, something was going to throw her off course. Fergie helped to popularize an exercise program called Calinetics. The program helped her to lose a significant amount of weight and earned her public praise for the changes in her body. Problem solved, right? Well, of course, it wasn't. Sarah was about to see firsthand that there was just no winning with the press. In 1989, she became pregnant with her second daughter, Eugenie. The birth was not an easy ride, and it resulted in a cesarean section. Leading up to this, you would not believe that the press criticized her for not having gained enough weight to sustain a healthy pregnancy. Unsurprisingly, these constant remarks on her body took a toll on her self-esteem and exacerbated her problems with food. Sadly, it was only a matter of time before Fergie turned to an even darker vice, one that would get her in a lot of trouble and completely destroy her reputation as a member of the royal family. During the early 90s, Fergie acquired a great deal of debt. People close to her regarded her as very charitable, but noted that she'd also enjoyed the finer things in life. This resulted in her going into the negatives to the tune of millions of British pounds. Eventually, this spending caught up with her, but even before that, she had other problems to worry about. As the years passed, media pressure only intensified for her. Thankfully, Princess Diana was still there as her friend. In later years, Fergie recollected how much she relied on the princess to guide her through these tough moments. But it wasn't all good times. In fact, this royal friendship had its secret tension, a tension that no one knew about. You might think that between their family ties and positions as royal outsiders, Fergie and Princess Diana's relationship would be smooth sailing. In truth, there was a lot of insecurity on both their parts. Being so young and new to a stressful environment undoubtedly caused much of the struggle, but other difficulties presented themselves as well. In many ways, Fergie's strengths became her weaknesses when it came to Diana. After marrying Prince Andrew, she charmed her way into the royal family's hearts by trying new sports, obtaining a pilot's license, and learning how to drive a carriage. All of these pastimes earned her respect from the royal family, and a bit of jealousy from Diana. While Diana struggled to win over the hearts of her in-laws, Fergie seemed to be unnatural. At one point in time, it seemed like every member of the royal family supported her. Hence, a rivalry between the ladies formed. Diana's marriage was miserable enough as it is, so it must have hurt when Prince Charles asked her why she couldn't be more like Fergie. Ultimately, she said that Fergie left her looking like dirt. But despite their differences, the two women remained closer to friends than enemies. It helped that they shared quite a fun side, and it got them into all kinds of trouble. Fergie was the first female in the royal family to have a bachelorette party, along with Princess Diana. The two dressed up as Bobbies and caused a bit of a ruckus outside of Buckingham Palace. Sharing such wild and youthful memories was a huge deal for the free-spirited young women. These moments helped to balance out the tension between them, and provided respite when being in the royal family got especially challenging. And it was only going to get more and more difficult when Fergie's marriage to Prince Andrew slowly started to fall apart. While she seemed happy on the outside, the public had no idea how much she was really suffering in her relationship. But this was just one of those secrets that could not be kept hidden forever. Prince Andrew's career as a naval officer made married life increasingly difficult for Fergie. He was often away from home. By one point, he and Fergie only spent about 40 days of the year in each other's company. Disillusioned by this lonely lifestyle, she felt more alone than ever. But she wasn't a little girl anymore. She knew just what she had to do, and in a way it was the only decision that she had left. In 1992, Sarah Ferguson and Prince Andrew announced their separation. They divorced in 1996, right around the same time Princess Diana divorced Prince Charles. Their shared experiences with the disenchantment of royal life brought the women closer than ever. Sadly, This friendship and so much else in Fergie's life would soon head downhill yet again. Unsurprisingly, Sarah's decision to divorce didn't impress the Queen. The palace quickly announced that she would no longer carry out any public duties on the Queen's behalf. But that wasn't all. The palace noted that all of the debts Fergie had incurred became her responsibility, not the royal family's. She was on her own yet again, and there were even more scandals to come. After filing for divorce, gossip headlines went berserk when her friendship with Texas multimillionaire Steve Wyatt became public knowledge. Photographs of the two in the presence of Fergie's young daughter appeared all over the media. Considering the drama surrounding her separation, this did not go over well with any of her in-laws. But Fergie was not about to let anything or anyone get in the way of what she really wanted. Heads turned when photographs emerged of her sharing some intimate moments with an American financial manager, John Bryan. This resulted in public ridicule and lots of shunning from the royals. But the worst insult came from Princess Margaret. The Queen's sister famously sent Fergie a letter after the images went public, which said, "You have done more to bring shame on the family than could ever have been imagined." Ouch! But Sarah Ferguson wasn't finished bringing shame to the royals just yet. She and Prince Andrew finalized their divorce in 1996, 4 years after their initial separation. As part of the settlement, she received a lump sum of $2.2 million in addition to a hefty monthly allowance. Fergie wasn't just all about taking, though. She had plans to give something back to the royals herself. As part of the divorce arrangement, she was once again allowed to use the title of Her Royal Highness, which was in keeping with prior royal divorces. Astoundingly, she chose to reject the title, and instead opted to simply go by Sarah, Duchess of York, which remains her title to this day. But even though she was still a duchess, Ferguson still had that crippling debt thing to figure out, and it just wasn't going away anytime soon. In order to try and pay off her significant debt, she flew to America during the early 90s and started endorsing brands. She made over $500,000 just by acting in juice commercials, and she didn't stop there. She became a spokesperson for tableware, cosmetics, and Weight Watchers. Pretty soon, her debt started to disappear. And this big win, thanks to the American public, was only going to get bigger. Even though she crossed the pond, Sarah Ferguson still knew how to shock Britain. In the late 90s, she stunned English audiences by appearing in the sitcom Friends. Since the show was hugely successful in both America and the UK, this scored major points for the general public. The royal family, of course, hated the appearance. But as far as Fergie's transgressions go, that was a pretty minor one. They still haven't forgiven her for her scandalous biography, though. Fergie was never one to fall in line with the royals. That's clear by now, but her 1996 memoir, My Story, was a whole new betrayal. The tell-all book revealed intimate details about the breakdown of her marriage. But that wasn't all. Fergie also gave readers a juicy behind-the-scenes look at the royal family. Between this book and the subsequent book tour, she just couldn't stop ruffling feathers at Buckingham Palace. But soon what she did would look trivial, because tragedy was about to strike, and nothing would ever be the same again. In 1997, Princess Diana perished in a car accident while trying to escape the paparazzi. The loss hit Ferguson hard. Before Diana's passing, the two ladies had stopped talking, which only added to Fergie's guilt and grief. While it is unclear what caused the final rift between them, speculation circulated that Princess Diana was unhappy with the way that she appeared in Fergie's autobiography. Fergie lacked the closure that she so desired, but she had no choice but to accept things as they were, because more question marks were about to overcome her. The blows just kept on coming, and there was absolutely nothing that she could do to stop it. While Fergie was vacationing in Italy in 1998, her mother also perished in a car accident. The shock of this life event so close, after the loss of Princess Diana, made Fergie do some serious soul-searching. Her normal coping mechanisms for stress involved overeating. But having lost 2 loved ones, she asked herself, are you going to waste your life and just eat yourself silly, or are you going to wake up? So she started taking her commitment to healthy eating seriously. In the years that followed, she continued her journey with Weight Watchers, and even enjoyed some peace in the most unexpected place. Thanks to the amicable friendship she maintained with Prince Andrew, they actually continued to reside together for many years in Berkshire. It wasn't until 2004, when the Duke relocated himself, that this arrangement ended. And it was probably for the best, though, because things were on the cusp of blowing up between them. Fergie had always struggled with financial issues, and that put a target on her back, a big one. It was only a matter of time before some shady investor got the best of her. Unfortunately for her, that shady investor turned out to be an undercover journalist with news of the world. What happens next made international headlines and made her a household name for all the wrong reasons. The journalist caught Ferguson on camera, promising that she would grant the investor access to Prince Andrew directly, all for a sum of cash. The undercover journalist handed her a suitcase of money with a vow to send her much more. It goes without saying that follow-through never took place. Instead, footage of their interaction found its way to news networks all over the world. This poor judgment arashed Fergie's reputation. Remarkably, though, she still had one comeback in her. Using the media once again, she publicly apologized on Oprah, attributing her behavior to alcohol and expressing regret for her actions. She said that she was in the gutter at that moment. The fact that she was so willing to humble herself and her own shortcomings led her to a slow rise back in popularity. But would it last this time? As her popularity once again crawled its way up the social ladder, Fergie impressed a certain musical talent, Stacey Fergie Ferguson. As a nod to the Duchess, the pop star named an album after her in 2006, The Duchess. This prompted the most unusual friendship. At one point, Sarah Ferguson even hired Fergie to perform at her charity event. In the end, although Ferguson's time in the royal family had its ups and downs, she maintains to this day that a lot of good came from it too. Thanks for watching History Expose. If you love uncovering the best stories in history, hit like and subscribe to keep exploring with us. Don't forget to visit our main page, Factate, for more incredible facts about everything.